You're the sign of the times. Pay attention. Don't you hear the cry? It's a brand new day. It's good to be alive. You have survived. Ain't it good to be alive? Don't it?
Good morning. Hey, coffee breakers. How you doing this morning? And all of my new guests. This is Senabella with Coffee Break. And I am excited to be here with you this morning. Guess what? I'm entertaining. It says, you can't read this, but it says, I work hard so my cat can have a good life. And believe me, let me tell you something. The cats are having a great life, even though they're very spoiled and you would think they don't get enough. And I'm just here to serve them. Like I am here to serve you this morning. Like I'm here to serve you this morning. So how you doing? What's been on your plate that's been keeping you busy? How do you feel about all those things? Well, we're going to talk to someone this morning. And Nikki Gushiniere is one of the most amazing young ladies that I've had a chance to meet over this last year or two. And I'm excited to bring her into the studio today and talk with you about her journey and many things that she's involved in. But most importantly, I just want to say that this is really, we're coming into this new season and we're supposed to be in spring. And I know that we are, but I'm excited about summer coming in. I'm excited about being out, able to get out and go walk and do things that are different than what we usually do throughout the year when we're in this long Chicago wintertime. And we've been, the weather's really been kind to us when we stop and think about it here in Chicago. But all over the world, there's so many things going on. And so it's a blessing to be able to have this platform and to talk to people and to share with people all these wonderful human beings that I get to meet and talk with from all over the place every day. And I just want you to know, I want to punctuate that with how happy I am that I've gotten a chance to meet and know many of you. And some of you are people who I've never seen in person, but even some of my cousins and my family members who are on the social media out here on the internet are people that say I only see at a family reunion, but are here and coming into the show and really giving support. And that's what life is about, isn't it? It's about how we support ourselves and how we support others. So I want you to know I'm here for you and thank you for being here for me. And just like every other time when we get up in the morning and I told you I got my little ditty going and I'm ready to go with you, let's just get it going. So before we bring Nikki in, and who knows, she might come in and start singing too, because she is well-rounded. That's one thing I have come to learn. She is very well-rounded. But let's just put the piece out here and let's just open up. I want to wake up feeling beautiful. 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 Feel beautiful. I want to wake up feeling 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 beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. So beautiful, beautiful. I want to wake up with the sun in my eyes and joy in my heart. I want to wake up feeling beautiful, beautiful. Wake up feeling beautiful. Feel beautiful. Feel beautiful. 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 Hey. I'm telling you, sometimes when I'm singing it, I'm certainly speaking to my own spirit, my own needs. But it's nice to share that live with everyone else. And I hope you feel beautiful this morning. And so while we're talking about feeling beautiful, let's bring in the beautiful Nikki. Nikki Gushiniere. Now, you say your name, Nikki, so I don't mess it up. Is Gushiniere? Is it Gushiniere? What is it? It is French, though, isn't it?
It is French, Gushiniere, but I like the way you said Gushiniere.
That's
I
because
like that pronunciation as well.
yeah, I'm trying to pretend like I know how to say it in the dialect of some Frenchman, but obviously that's all television.
I like it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Look at you. You sound and you look wonderful. How you feeling?
I feel beautiful. Thank you. I feel like I was serenaded this morning.
That's good.
And yes, I love to set intentions every day. And the song that you were singing, it's just really the vibration of hearing your voice. And you made me feel beautiful. So I am beautiful. And thank you.
You're
I
so
appreciate
welcome.
you.
You know, there's this thing when we talk about intentionality. And so little probably less than a year ago, I woke up and I was on my way into the restroom and the music started playing in my head and I started singing it and I realized it was resonating with me and I wanted to always sing it. And of course, it's much longer. I shouldn't say, of course, it is much longer. It's a mantra that goes on and on. And mantras are important to me. You know, we talk about
Absolutely.
invoking the spirit of positivity into our lives. And for me, it was finding a way to always wake up with something more positive than just waking up and working out, you know, waking up and taking time for myself. How am I taking my time for myself? What is the process of my spiritual and my mental well being, right? And so you and I, we had a very robust conversation earlier this week, and we talked about that. And I talked about how when it is that I met you, which was at the Queen's Award, we were both receiving a Queen's Award. And you came into the room and you brought all those beautiful babies with you. Oh my God. I was like so fascinated just to see all of it because it was like, this sister is like, she is given a lot. But it wasn't that you were just giving and it was a lot. It was really more that how you were giving, right? I just saw this sister who was a fabulous woman with all these dynamic children. And I was trying to figure out how do I get to talk to her? Because you have such a wonderful spirit. And there were so many great things going on at that table with you and all those beautiful girls. And then I find out they're your children. And then I hear your story about the animation in Nikki's town, right? Nikki's tiny town and all of that. And I'm just fascinated. So it took this long for me to finally get with you. And I saw you at at the wedding last week, right? This past
Yes.
weekend. And I said to myself, I'm going to make it a point that I go up to her and I speak to her and invite her on my show. And here we are already. So everything has intention. So I'm not going to keep chatting. I'm going to let you come in because I brought you in and it's time for you to have your way. So go ahead, share.
First and foremost, I would like to say thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform. It is an honor, and I appreciate you. From the first time I saw you and heard your beautiful voice, which was at the Queen ceremony, I thought to myself, this is somebody I need to know. Your personality was just absolutely magnetic, and I was drawn to you. So it's an honor to be on your show, first and foremost, and I'd like to say thank you for that. And it's awesome to reconnect with you. As you said, we ran into one another at the wedding last week. So thank you for having me on your show. I really appreciate that. And I'm just really super excited to be here. And once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I
You're so
appreciate
You're so welcome. So there are so many wonderful things about you. And as we get started, people are already chiming in. Let's see what they're saying. So good morning, Ramona. She's saying good morning, beautiful. And I'm pretty sure she means that to both of us because she's just that kind of sister. She's just an awesome sister. I've known her all my life, really. We went to school together way back in the day. Muhammad's University of Islam. My mother took me from Catholicism to Islam. It was like, what the crap is going on? And I met all these beautiful people, and she was one of them. And she's in the room talking about I inspire her. Good morning. Yeah, she says you inspire me. Isn't that what we're talking about this morning? And then we got Deborah Pruitt in the room, and she's saying good morning, beautiful ladies. All right,
it. Yes.
go ahead. You can
lots,
speak.
lots of love to go around.
Yes,
Amen.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so it's just a part of who we are, right? We do what we do and we try to inspire. So let's talk about your inspirational life. Let's talk about you as a mother and all these beautiful girls. And what was the driving force that caused you to do animation? How did you come about working with your children to build this piece? When did that happen? And share that with the audience.
Well, it started during the pandemic. So, first of all, I've always wanted to be a children's author from a little girl. So, I'd love to read books. I started to read books as a child, and it like took me into a totally different world, and I fell in love with books. So as a kid, I would look at the covers of books, and then I would read the back of the book covers, and I would rewrite the book covers on the back, and I would make up my own summaries for the books, as well as I would create new titles and illustrate the books. And from that, I always wanted to be a writer of children's books. And from that point on, this was just something that was budding inside of me, that was always inside of me. So fast forward to the pandemic in 2020, I was an educator. And when the pandemic happened, the world changed. It changed dramatically. So we have the world experiencing unprecedented challenges of the time. So those challenges were not only challenges for myself, but they were challenges for educators, as well as business owners, as well as every family. Everyone was affected globally. So facing those challenges for me personally as an educator, I had to find a way to teach preschoolers online.
Mm.
So first of all, if you know anything about preschoolers, you know that preschoolers have an abundance of energy. So just trying to keep preschoolers' attention in person is a bit of a challenge because you have to be on, you have to be animated. So I'm the type of educator who I always wanted my classroom to be fun, entertaining, exciting. So I always did hands-on activities with my children. So I'm always involved. I'm up, I'm turned on. So that's in person. Now I had to, as well as all the other educators globally, we had to pivot and figure out with very little training how to teach online.
Well, let me just
Not
say
only how to teach online, but for me, preschoolers, how am I going to get preschoolers to focus in on lessons online?
right.
So I'm going to tell you what my days were like in the beginning. So here I am online, very little training, and I'm on continuously. Oh, I'm on like this because I'm talking, I'm smiling, I'm trying to keep their attention. I'm singing, dancing nonstop because we don't have those hands-on learning stations for the students to go to anymore. They're at home and they're looking at me through a camera.
So you're being very animated.
Yes.
Okay.
But I was always an animated person within the classroom, but I got a chance to get breaks because we had stations where the children would go to. There are no stations. So I'm on
Right.
constantly. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Kindergarten Cop, but at the end of the movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger played a police officer
That
who
movie.
went, yes, he went undercover as a kindergarten teacher. And as he went into the classroom, the kindergartners were everywhere, all over, and he had to find a way to be able to catch their attention. And at the end of every single day, he would walk in and he would fall flat on his face because he was exhausted.
Yeah.
That was me
The
in
experience.
the early days. Yeah, that was me in the early days of online teaching because I was on constantly. So at the end of the day, I, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Schwarzenegger would fall face down in my bed. So my oldest daughter came to me and she said,
but before you go forward, let me just ask this. So
okay.
you're talking about pivoting for real, right? You got the pandemic. And were your children at home at the time? Did you have children living at home with you at the time when you were going through this?
Absolutely.
So you
my
had
3 daughters.
So you were pivoting in many ways. You had to figure out how to be this educator in a virtual world, and you had to live in the world in a virtual way, but in a more realistic way because all your children were home, right? So you
Yes,
taking on a whole lot, and
absolutely.
your mind had to be going wild. What was that? I mean, talk about your state of mind a little bit more, how you were juggling all those things at one time. And we have another person in the room. This is actually my sister, Marita. She says, "Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Marita. It's good to see
Good
you. Good
morning.
to see you." Yes, yes. And so you had a lot going on, and your creative juices were flowing at this point, huh? Like, how do I make this all work? How do I manage it? So
Exactly.
here you go, right?
Exactly. So juggling the role as a mother to my three daughters, and I have a son, but he wasn't with us at the time in the beginning. But my three daughters and my animals, because I'm a lover of animals. So juggling those roles and the responsibility, and just making sure that my youngest daughter, she was on point with her homework, doing the things that she needed to do, while partnering with my oldest daughter, who said to me, "Mom, I hear you, you're on all day," because I had my studio where I was teaching, my virtual makeshift classroom that I made.
Wait a
Her
minute, just go
room,
back again. Let's just go back. So I didn't even think about what people were doing with their animals during the pandemic.
yes.
I have cats, and that's just a little different. They're a little easier to manage, but you had pets. Do you have dogs as well? What do you have?
I have four dogs, three rabbits, and three cats.
Girl, let me get back for a
So I
minute.
have a mini zoo.
Wait a
And
minute.
how I ended up
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
with
whoa.
so many animals was because of rescue. I rescued several of those animals. That's how I ended up with
So
so
you
many
got
animals.
four dogs, rabbits, kids, and a virtual classroom.
Exactly. So, and it was the animals, I just incorporated the animals into my teaching lessons. So I would be like, well, boys and girls, we're going to learn a little bit about rabbits. So I would talk to them about rabbits, and that was another way I kept their attention with the animals. Today we're going to have a visit from Shia, and we would talk about what type of rabbit she is. I would put her on the screen, I would describe. So I incorporated the animals into my teaching lessons, to the point where the children would ask about the animals and how they were doing. So that was something that was that I just interwove into my teaching lessons, and the children were just so excited for the animals. And um, I'm sorry, one of
Okay.
my um, one of my animals died
Oh, that's
during the
rough.
pandemic. I'm sorry, one of my babies, and so that became a lesson, because the children were asking where my baby was, my dog, and that wasn't a lesson in itself. And I cried, and it just bonded us even further. And they just were just like, "We're so sorry, we love you so much," and just taking time to honor my animals. And it's like, when online teaching, it's like you really got to know your students in a different manner, because they got a
Mm.
glimpse inside of my home life. They got to
Well, let
meet
me
my
ask you this
family.
question. Well, let me just ask you this, in that we're saying it because the conversation is now they want to change the education system and people supposed to take vouchers. Do you think that uh, teaching children or people virtual is an asset as opposed to a nuance that it's difficult to handle? What do you think? Is it not for everyone, or is it something that you think, as you're sharing so much with me, a whole lot of your life became a tool and an instrument for helping to grow how you were educating your students, as well as to maintain, say, a certain kind of thriving spirit in your house. So what do you think of that as it relates to, say, other people who would teach virtually? I would love to have a conversation with a myriad of teachers who had to do the online teaching and see what their experiences were like, and have you all have that conversation together.
That would be very interesting. And I would say it depends on the educator. For me, I was able to pivot. Um, and make that transition to online education with ease because of my collaborations with my daughter. So I was able to comfortably switch into the online education setting. First of all, because I'm the type of person, no matter what the situation is that pops up, I'm going to find my pattern and my way to connect with that situation and make things flow. So I'm going to analyze it and see how I can make my day flow, how I can be as creative as possible and learn as much as I can. So that's what I did during that time. And I believe there's a place for in person because you can do a lot of hands-on activities. You can grow a garden together. We did things in my classroom like I had a butterfly garden. So you can do those hands-on projects. So I think there's a place for both the online aspects as well as coming together physically. So each has its own challenges, of course, but whatever the educator feels comfortable with, I think that's the way that it flows best and naturally because it's always going to do with that person's what they feel comfortable with. And making that transition for me, after collaborating with my daughter, what happened was we decided to animate my teaching lessons to keep my children's attention. My daughter had studied animation in college. She had studied film, but she taught herself how to animate. So she said, Mom, why don't we just animate your lessons? That way we can keep your children engaged.
I love
And you don't have to be turned on so much because you can show your videos. And I thought to myself, that is brilliant. Let's
it. It
do
is
that.
brilliant.
So,
All
so
that
off we
female
were
energy
to
together. Love
so
it.
off we were. I was so excited, like animated, that's gonna be great. So she started to animate the teaching lessons, and we went in baby steps. As I look back to our first animated video, and we just kept growing and growing and growing. So I was reading other. We were taking the books of other authors and bringing them to life through animation. So that's how we started and singing and dancing and just making it really fun and engaging for the children where I'm narrating, I'm up moving and grooving, they're moving and grooving with me. So I can play the videos, I can sit back, then we can discuss the videos, I can replay the videos. Now fast forward, remember I always wanted to be a children's author. My daughter says, Mom, I challenge you to write your own children's books so we can animate your children's books and bring your vision to life.
So
And
your
I
daughter
said,
said, Mom, I challenge you.
she did. That's
Wow.
my oldest
I
baby.
absolutely love this.
Yes. And at the time I said, well, I've always wanted to write that children's book. And I said, okay. And then I said, well, you gave me the challenge. And I sat down and I wrote my first children's book, which is entitled The Billy Goats Rough. And after I wrote it, got the copyright for everything, my daughter began the animation process and she brought my book to life and I was in tears.
Of course.
And she was my animator, my illustrator, the producer of Nikki's Tiny Town. She filmed everything, she animated everything, graphically designed just the backbone of Nikki's Tiny Town. And then my other daughters became a part of Nikki's Tiny Town because we do singing, dancing. So one of my daughters, all of my daughters, we were singing on the tracks together. One of my babies who loves to dance as well as I do. Love to
Right.
dance.
You know you're
I'm
a
a big house
househead.
music fan.
Yes, we know that.
So she was in charge of choreographing, in charge of wardrobe and makeup. We had a studio with a green screen. We bought the lighting kit. It was just amazing.
So
And my
your home
students,
became an interactive space,
mhm,
and you were able to materialize this awesome methodology of education for your online students. You found a way to say impart a sort of peace and creativity in your home around all of these beautiful things that were going on. And you lost an animal, and that had an emotional toll on everyone. And everyone got to experience this all together. So were your children who were online aware of the fact that you were creating these things for them as you came into it? Did you share with them you had things that were going on that you were sharing? And let me just say, we have so many people, we have a few things that are being said, and I just want to acknowledge the things that they're saying. And Let me see, where am I at? Oh, I'm in the wrong place. I'm terrible with this. Anyway, look, I'm trying to figure out which way do I go first? So she says, Ramona says, she says, I'm doing something similar. How can I contact you? So we're going to put that up for you. And then Naima Latif, the executive and producer and founder of Female Solution, she says, our children who grow up in this digital age have brilliant ideas. It was very intelligent of you to listen to her. It was. That talks about the great communication in the house. I mean, there's so many things to talk about here. Being home is a place where you can create a lot of different things. There are different anomalies of things that's going on. And higher learning says, wow, never heard the term mini zoo. Incorporating animals into learning is simply awesome. Thank you for sharing your genius. Yes, I love that too. And then Carla Ivy says, she loves Miss Nikki's stories, and I think that, is really awesome. Great morning, Lawana Trailer. What a grateful thing to see you here. These beautiful people coming into the room and hearing this awesome story. Oh, I love that. And then Ramona even says, I love puppets as a child, and I still do as a mature woman. I find myself watching a lot of animated things these days, but I don't find a lot of favor in, say, the past animation. But what I did do is from watching cartoons, it was a lot of jazz and a lot of pop music that was created around that. And so I too started writing, and I was inspired by that animation. So while we stop for a minute, I want to take a break and come back so that I can pay homage to what there is here in the context of the Female Solution Show, and make sure that, man, I'm so all over the place. I can't even figure out what the heck I want to do. I don't want to leave, but let's just take a quick short break and come right back. Okay.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
I love that. And, I just want to emphasize that point. This is the Female Solution. We do need to have sponsors and advertising. And though we have some, we couldn't have enough. So let's all start continuing to invest in one another. If you have a business or if you want to do something, there's some affordable solutions that you can find at the Female Solution. So hit us up and let us know. We'll make sure we leave that information out in public for you to find. But let's keep going. We're here with Nicole Gushiniere, and she is an educator, fibromyalgia warrior, a creative asset in our community, a shero to many people. She's accomplished a lot. To look at you, I see a wonderful young girl, but when I listen to you, I know I'm speaking to a full-fledged woman who has taken on life and is a remarkable human being. Remarkable human being, because I know that as a mother, it takes a lot to transform yourself into the person you have to be. Because one minute you're the mother who wants to just hug and hold your kids, right? And to see them and have them close to you and to go out and do things and experience life. And on the other hand, you want to make sure you're stern with them so that you get them moving on. You're always preparing them to leave you, right? And so you're in this situation and you have your nest now full of this creative energy and all these dynamic situations going on. How did your other children acclimate inside of that creative state at that time? Was there any confusion, or were they all just sort of like aligning themselves and coming in like the planets? What was that like?
Everyone was really excited. When my eldest daughter came to me with the idea, and she started to animate the videos, and then my other children, they just were magnetically drawn,
Mhm.
and we just started collaborating together because we're I've been always been a little bit of an entrepreneur, and I have always had that spirit. And I think my children naturally, just watching me over the years, adopted that spirit as well.
Mhm.
So when I asked them to come and join in with various roles, such as the sound team, such as choreographing, using their wonderful voices to sing on the songs, and just for graphic design, they just naturally flowed in. So as we began to create the videos, I first started with preschool, but then as we moved into, because COVID started like around April of 2020, so we moved into a new school year, which is September of 2020. So now in front of me, I have first grade students. So now I'm interacting with them. They're watching the videos. And it was so funny when I put my first video up for the new group of children to watch. I didn't tell them that I was putting a video up about myself. I just put the video up, and it was so funny watching their faces because they were looking like, is that my teacher? It was hilarious. So at the end of the first video I showed them, I said, so what do you think? And then one by they were just kind of like, we loved it. And they were like, well, that was you, right? So I'm like, yes, that's your teacher. So they were just super excited. Now, during this time, I got an email asking if any educators, it was from the teachers union, if any educators wanted to participate in a teaching show that they were getting ready to launch during the pandemic that would be on Fox 32,
Because
my
everybody
50.
was a buzz trying to figure out what to do next, right? In that virtual world, all the teachers, everybody was trying to figure out how do we collaborate? How do we make this happen? Uh, we're on this here asset, which is the internet, and how do we make it happen? So you now confronted with that as well.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I submitted the videos to the program manager for the show, and I kind of just said a blessing over it. And I just said, okay, well, we're going to submit these. And I hit the button, and lo and behold, I had missed a phone call the next day. And I checked my phone and I said, oh my gosh, someone called. They left a message calling from the teaching show.
Really?
And I'm like, oh my goodness, they called from the teaching show. I'm so excited. And I remember calling my daughters. I'm like, they responded from the teaching show. And I'm so excited. And maybe they want our videos. Maybe we're going to be on TV. And I'm like, what do I do next? And everybody in my household is looking at me, including my ex-husband, um, my husband at the time. And they're like, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and call. But I was so nervous.
How
I was
exciting.
I was super excited but nervous at the same time. So I'm running around the house and everybody's like, go ahead and make that phone call. You got this. And I started speaking my affirmations over myself. And I'm like, I'm Miss Nikki. I can do this. I had a little mini trampoline in my office. So I just started bouncing on it to get all of my nerves out and shaking. And then I made that phone call. And the producer of the television show said, we absolutely love the video that you submitted. You are amazing. And we would like to have you on our show. And I was super excited. And he says, can you please produce at least 3 videos a week? Well,
Wow.
well, you have to realize that my daughters and I were Nikki's Tiny Town. We didn't have a camera crew. We didn't have a sound team. We were doing everything ourselves. So I said to them, I cannot guarantee 3 videos. I say, but I can guarantee that I would love to be on your show weekly. And I know for a fact we can at least produce 1 show weekly because I am still teaching. So you have to realize we're filming the show, but I'm still actively teaching at the same time. So it was such an exciting time. The videos aired on Fox 32, My 50, for a period of 2 years. doing a television show called We Still Teach.
Mm,
And I will never forget this ever. The first day our video aired, and it was my book that had come to life, The Billy Goat Scruff, that my daughter animated,
wow.
which has over 250,000 views on the YouTube channel. That video aired, and I just remember being in the room with my family and just feeling so proud of my daughters, the family connection, just seeing a
Mm,
dream come true. Because I always wanted to be a children's author. Lo and behold, did I ever think that my books would be animated by my eldest daughter, and that my daughters and I would collaborate and I would see my book come to life because my daughter animated and I'm the wacky narrator who's narrating everything, as well as my daughter turned me into a cartoon as well. So we got really, really creative. And when that video, our first video was aired, it was just such an amazing experience.
yes.
And
It sounds absolutely unreal, but so absolutely
yes,
real. I think when I
yes,
say unreal, and no, I know that when I say unreal, I'm speaking to these infinite possibilities that exist around us. And then things happen to cause it all to come together to start working. And this phenomenal outcome. And then I'm listening to you and I'm looking at you and I'm saying to myself, Nikki is so passionate and you take things in so soulful and so deeply. And so I'm sure that your work is just a great example of your emotion and your thoughts and feelings. You're an educator, but there's so many layers to you. And I don't want to run out of time. I want to talk about the fact that you are also a mental health coach. And it stems from things that you have experienced as well, right? So
absolutely.
can we segue a little into that? If you have something else you want to share that you think is pivotal in your communication about Nikki's Town, then please let's do that now and let's
Uh,
segue. Okay.
so I just wanted to mention from that journey, we were on the teaching show for 2 years, but we created our YouTube channel. So that's how our YouTube channel was born. So we started with the videos for my classroom. We ended up on the television show. And then we had the idea of let's put our videos on the YouTube channel so that they can be there forever.
Mm,
So our videos, we compile them on our YouTube channel, and they just continue to grow with our viewership. And we were so pleased to see that our videos, because you can check the analytics in the YouTube channel, and our videos were being aired in Great Britain,
love it.
Thailand, all over the world. And then that just made our hearts even more full because Nikki's Tiny Town, our concept is to spread positivity, to spread joy, to spread love, creativity, to create a positive self concept for the children. So, before we talk about my journey with fibromyalgia, I want to mention a little bit about how my affirmation book came into play.
Mhm.
So, we have the videos airing, everything is just going along to the best of our ability. I won't say wonderfully because it was a very challenging time. I lost people due to COVID. My mom ended up in the hospital. So, there were just a lot of things going on at that time. However, from that journey, we were going along with our videos airing on TV. We had the YouTube channel. And then in 2021, boom, life be life. And that's what we say sometimes, life be life.
Yeah,
And I
we love.
experienced an injury to my neck, which caused me to have a traumatic brain injury. So I became bedridden just like that. And I have a condition called fibromyalgia, which is a chronic pain condition we'll talk about in a minute. My fibromyalgia exacerbated. So now you have me bedridden, flat on my back with extreme headaches, leaving the home only to go to neuro rehabilitation, speech therapy, incapacitated for a period of approximately 9 months, only leaving the home to go to my appointments, going from dancing and being physical to a wheelchair, to having to use a walker to get around. And then I was able to finally transition to a cane. So during that time, and I was there, and I began to speak affirmations over myself. doing bed yoga, doing meditation, going from flat on my back, doing bed yoga to the day I was finally able to sit up and do bed yoga from the bed.
So you're going really fast, and I get it because we want to get it in.
Hmm.
What is the time span between day of discovery of what's happening with you into where you are now in the conversation? How much time has lapsed?
Since the traumatic brain injury.
Those, as you're coming into, you have the pain, you end up finding out you had a brain situation. How much time has lapsed now as you're in that space at that time? How long did it take before you get to where you are in the conversation now? Was that like a week, months? What was that?
So I was bedridden for approximately 9 months. And during that time is when my affirmation cards for children, I began to write them, because affirmations are a big part of my journey and speaking over yourself. So during that time when I was bedridden, I thought, after I was able to sit up, because my head pain was extreme. So once I was able to lower the volume on that, my daughters and I collaborate, my oldest daughter and I collaborated on the affirmation cards. So we completed an affirmation deck from A to Z, the alphabet on one side and the positive affirmation on the other, because that was instrumental in my journey, speaking healing thoughts over myself. So I just wanted to mention that, because that's how our affirmation cards came and our affirmation book during that time when I was experiencing a lot of pain. Just God used me to create a purpose from that pain. And that's how our biggest seller, our affirmation book and affirmation cards were born. So we're talking about a period of 9 months, um, um, primarily incapacitated. And then I was able to progress to walking with a cane.
But
So,
I'm sorry, Nikki, but what I find amazing about these affirmation cards is that the visuals of them are not necessarily speaking to what was causing you to have the affirmation cards. So you projected all that pain into something not just as a spiritual and a mental process of affirmation, but you also used it to help to uh, put a value to children and how they thought. So you were still in a very selfless kind of endeavor throughout the process. It wasn't as though you had to do that. You could have said, well, women and men need these here things. Let me do these affirmation cards and look at another audience. You really stayed focused. You remained focused. It says, I am amazing. I am beautiful. I am calm. I am dependable. And images of children. And I just want to say, I have to continue to say, how amazing is that? And so that those had to be tools that also in your box at that time, your war chest, if you will, that began to enlighten you. And so you said you were 9 months in the bed.
yes, 9 months.
When you
And I
leave
only
the
left
bed,
for
right, so the bed, you
neurohabilitation.
have these affirmation cards. You have already produced Nikki's Town.
Mhm.
What the crap? Like, and then let me just ask the other question, because you got a healing team of some wonderful young women who are your children. So young, females that are your children. So everyone was still very collaborative, working together.
Yes, I mean, it was a lot of interdependence upon one another, because I really needed my children, because at the very beginning I was using a walker. I was so weak they would have to help me to the bathroom. So when you get in a place, in a space like that, I really became very introspective, and I really learned how to utilize mindfulness and bed yoga. I didn't even know bed yoga existed. I looked it up online to keep my strength up. And fast forward through time, I got stronger and stronger and stronger. And I was able to eventually be able to walk on my own after some years later. So in 2024 is when I got stronger and stronger, where I was able to not have to utilize the cane anymore. And I will tell you, even while I was on the cane, I love my house music. I was still out dancing, holding on to my cane in my cane chair, and I was still dancing, because I wasn't going to let anything stop me from taking away my joy, because dance music is my joy. It's my peace. It came to me during a time when I've been house music dancing since I was a small child. So,
Girl, that house music ain't been around that long. Stop playing since you were small.
oh yes, when I was
Children.
10 years old, I'm not going to say my age.
I'm just saying, Come on. You said since I was a child. Like, come on now.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to stop that because obviously I know it's true it was around, but that,
But I want to say my age.
not so much telling your age. It's just that, when you think of house, it always feels like it's new. It doesn't feel like it's old. That's all I mean.
Because the music is ever evolving and changing.
That's a whole nother show.
Yeah, right. So moving on to talking about my journey with fibromyalgia, because my fibromyalgia was exacerbated, and I mentioned all that to give a history of how the affirmation cards and affirmation book came into play. But my fibromyalgia condition was exacerbated from the traumatic brain injury. And what fibromyalgia is a chronic pain condition that is global. And that means that the pain is throughout your body. It's not in an isolated spot. It's not in your knee only. It's not in your arm only. It is a global pain condition where my pain would be from the top of my head to the tips of my toes.
Ugh.
So my journey with fibromyalgia, my healing journey with fibromyalgia began in 2012. And I started to have symptoms in 2010. I experienced a car accident in 2008 where my car was totaled. It was hit by a semi truck on the expressway, spun around, and was smashed up against the median. And that's when I started to experience chronic pain. That was in 2008 but I went through a lot of physical therapy and I started to improve from the car accident. But fast forward to 2010, I started having these weird symptoms where my skin was burning like fire, but there was nothing there. First, I thought maybe am I coming down with shingles, but there was no rash there. And the symptoms would come and go. Then I started to get fatigued, but it would come and go. Then I started to experience like random stabbing pain throughout my body, but it would come and go. Just a plethora of all these symptoms. My sleep started to be unrefreshed. I would sleep, but I would wake up and not feel refreshed. So from that point, I went to a massage therapist, and I remember her telling me she was massaging me. It was so painful, the lightest touch. I was like, ow, ow. She says, honey, I think you have a condition called fibromyalgia. I confided in her. I've been doing a lot of research about my symptoms. However, it seems like the people who are diagnosed with that condition have a severe form of it where they're bedridden or they're just unable to work, unable to navigate through life. And I'm still functional. And she told me, well, I really think you need to look into this. I did not listen. I should have listened. I kept going. 2 months later, I woke up with pain so severe, it felt like, and I'm not exaggerating when I explain this, it felt like I had been thrown down a flight of stairs, beat with a bat, picked up, thrown in front of a bus, somebody peeled my skin off and threw salt in it all at the same time.
Well,
and I'm not exaggerating.
We're going to take a quick break and let you take a breath, and we're going to come back to that. I think that whew, girl, talk about going through something. We never know how many people are experiencing something that is way beyond the depth and the reach of our minds and our own experiences. So I look forward to coming back. Let's take this quick commercial break. I'll be back.
The Soulful Chicago Book Fair, Woodlawn's premier summer event, returns to 61st Street between Cottage Grove and King Drive, Saturday, August 9th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Join us for another celebration of literary works by and about the Black experience, featuring children's books, fiction books, and non-fiction works by local and international authors. The main stage will host an entertainment lineup second to none, with Pari Lemuel, Aniba and the Soul Stars, and the mesmerizing Moo Moo Fresh. Special guest, DJ Celeste. The community stage features a variety of family-friendly performances, such as DJ sets produced by IC Music, an organization that trains and promotes blind audio engineers. All this and more, Saturday, August 9th, free and open to all. Be there. Visit SoulfulChicagoBookFair.com for more information.
Wow, I saw Asada. And you know, I don't know if Asada knows it, but that's my daughter and my granddaughter at the very first part of it. I had no idea. I looked at, wait a minute, that's my family. So, you know, our seeds are everywhere, right? Before we get back into it, let's just take a look and see what some of the people are saying. Let me just put up this because this is my wow too. LaShawn Stevens says, wow. I never knew. I only see you dancing like it's 1999. Beautiful. Wow. And then always saying family, my dear family is in the room. Natalie Vaughn Matthews' cousin. Good morning. I'm tardy for the party, but I'm present. Yeah. And then she says, our house music was always around. I hear you, Natalie, but everybody had a different kind of music. You know, I'm not saying I didn't know about house music. I'm just saying, yeah, I wasn't on the house music scene. You know, I'm always late to arrive to a party anyway. What can I say? And it's just it's a wild moment, isn't it, Nat? Nikki is the encouragement that you provide through what you're speaking of. And Deborah Pruitt says, you have overcome, Nikki. Praise God. There's so much love for you here. You know,
It means a lot to me.
love for you. Natalie says, I'm so happy this beautiful lady is healed or healing. God is so good. You have so much love out here in the universe for you. And that's the thing about what I love when I'm here on this show is that people get to connect and say the things that their hearts want to say directly to people, you know, and we need that encouragement. We need that support. And you could be a strong stalwart, you know, you can stand like a pole on the street and you keep the lights on, but eventually the lights will go out and who's going to repair you, right? And so in this community, you can find at Coffee Break, people are repairing you and adding to what it is that you're saying. We all have our own personal stories and yours is just super amazing. So we took a break and said we'd come back. So I'm going to leave you to pick up where you like, because at this moment, I realize how important it is for you to spill the beans and tell the rest and share as much as we can. We got just a little time left, but I like to we utilize it for you to have that opportunity to do so. So please continue.
So my journey with fibromyalgia, as I woke up with this extreme pain. My husband at the time took me to the ER. And at that time, I remember the ER doctor saying that I believe you have some type of myalgia. I believe it's fibromyalgia. You have to go and get a workup. So from that time, because fibromyalgia, let me explain what it is. It's a chronic pain condition that is globally throughout your body. It feels like you have the flu multiplied by 100. It feels like having stiffness. So stiffness is one of the symptoms. Global pain, a sleep disorder where when you wake up, you feel like you are not refreshed. Irritable bowel syndrome is one of the symptoms. And just brain fog. And brain fog is a symptom where all of a sudden maybe you lose your train of thought or you can't remember things. So these are just some of the hallmark symptoms of fibromyalgia. And it's not just one pain. So you have the pain where your skin burns. Sometimes my skin burns, it feels like fire. You have the body flu, aching pain. You have stabbing pains. So it's just not one pain that you experience.
Well, let me
So I had to pivot life with a new normal.
I have
Because
this question.
okay.
So what is fibromyalgia? What's the definition? All these things that you're saying to me are an outlier of symptoms and things that can happen. Do everybody experience all of these things? Or are they things that some may experience and others don't? I mean, does everyone get to be where you are now? I mean, this is like girl, you done said a lot. You said your skin burns, you got stiffness, you got global pain, you have irritable bowel problems, you got brain fog. What doesn't it have?
So there are a plethora of symptoms actually that someone with fibromyalgia can have. But the hallmark symptoms that people share in common are definitely the chronic pain and the stiffness globally throughout the body. So that's a feature that everyone pretty much shares in the unrefreshed sleep. So when I say hallmark symptoms, those are the main symptoms that people share together. However, there can be paresthesia. You can have tingling in your hands and your feet. Those are some of the other symptoms. So I went from functional to non-functional. This was in 2012. I had to have someone take over my classroom. I went on FMLA, bedridden during that time. I told myself I would leave no stone unturned, and so I can turn down the volume of the pain. So am still on my journey with fibromyalgia and a traumatic brain injury. I just have a new normal where fibromyalgia can be mild. Some people, it can be moderate, and some people, it can be severe. Some people's daily symptoms can be mild and then they just fluctuate up to moderate or severe. Someone else's normal may be moderate symptoms every day. Someone else's normal may be severe symptoms every day. So you can have it mild, moderate, or severe. For myself, it was extremely severe constantly in the beginning, and I was able to dial back the volume. I experienced pain every single day. However, it's become, if you can think of a dial on a radio, so put it at 0, where I'm just going through life, or 1 with very little pain, to somebody turning the radio all the way up to a number 10 and it being stuck on 10 for a while. Then it dialed back to 9. And as I got control of my symptoms and worked with integrative medical doctors with a holistic approach, I was able to dial it back more and more. My daily baseline, that means your pain level that you experience daily, fluctuates between a 4 and a 5, but it's become the background noise. For example, if you're writing or doing a task with the radio on, your brain gets used to the background noise. So my level 4 and 5 pain is the background noise. However, picture yourself just writing, listening to the radio at a level 4, and then all of a sudden somebody turns it up to 10 and it's boom, boom, boom. So that's how it is for me. I have flare-ups. A flare-up is when your symptoms just automatically get dialed all the way up. And then during those times, I have to just rest in the bed, take pain meds. So that's like the new life. So just because you see me out dancing one day, it doesn't mean that I can do the same thing the next day or the day after, and it doesn't mean that I don't experience a flare up, but I'm not going to stop doing the activities that bring me joy. Because when I was at the severest point, and I can do any of those things, because remember, I had to create a toolbox of different modalities to help me get relief. I'm still on my healing journey with fibromyalgia and the traumatic brain injury. However, I have come a long way. But at any given moment, say my daily is a 4 level pain, which is the background noise. Like if you're able to function with, say you have a headache, but you're still able to function. There's a difference between having a headache in the background that you're able to function through, and you're just like this and you know it's there, in a migraine, because a migraine is going to incapacitate you. So
Wow.
the same thing with fibromyalgia. My daily volume is this, but an hour from now, it can be, for I've been resting for the past 2 days because I had to experience a bit of a flare up with the fatigue. So there's a lot of the fatigue that can be involved.
Well,
But through my journey, I worked with an integrative medical doctor. An integrative medical doctor, to me, they are the best. They're regular medical doctors who have been trained additionally in natural medicine. And
well,
Whole Health Chicago is
let me-
one of the places I went, and I work with Dr. Casey Kelly, who is phenomenal, who has her own practice at Case Integrative, and they treated my entire body, not just with a pill, but with many supplements, dietary changes, mental changes, learning to slow down, yoga, tai chi, just incorporating a lot of different modalities to dial back that volume.
Well, with all
And
that said, let me say this: we've come out of we're close to closing it, very close to it in a moment. And I just want to say, what a remarkable story! I think I should have you back soon so we can pick up on this. I think it's important to talk about. And so I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, Nikki. What an amazing woman you are! And there were so many things I wanted to show or add to this here, in context to the things that you say and the things that you do, and the way that we view you in life, and you've been seen every day. and welcome you to come back. I look forward to it. Thank you so much for coming to Coffee Break with Senabella and enlightening myself and the audiences and people around the world who will see and hear this, and to know about yourself, your journey, the wonderful things you've accomplished. And I'm going to invite everybody to come back when we see our name up again. I'm going to bring you back. Can we do that?
Thank you so much. It will be an honor to come back and to be on your platform. I love your voice. I love you. I love what you're doing. I love how you are creating awareness amongst different topics in the community. And I would be honored to return. And
It's
I
my
thank
honor,
you.
really it is. And I know I'm speaking for everyone that's had an opportunity to hear your voice and see you today. I think that you are just absolutely an awesome human being. And I pray that God continues to cover you and gives you a peaceful, loving life where you can continue to create and motivate so many of us as you have already today. Thank you so much. And thank you to all my wonderful coffee breakers who come into the room and made this here such a wonderful, inviting place for Nikki and myself, and what you do every day, coffee breakers. And those of us who have not come into the show, but we'll see it afterwards, you know, man, thank you. Thank you for being a part of the coffee breakers. You all have a great day. I'm going to close out. Oh, before I go, I want to say something. She says, you have overcome, Nikki. Praise God, from Deborah Pruitt. Just want to make sure I get in one more thing and just let it kind of be out there. But like and follow and share this here episode of Coffee Break with Senabella. I'll see you all back here. Thank you, and be good.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiyabonga. Senegal, Jared. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.